Yo, Prof here, and we're back. Today I was troubleshooting Einhander V2. Actually having a similar issue to Toy Box here. Surprisingly and annoyingly. I'm realizing how close they are, and how close ASRock motherboard 7700X, ASRock motherboard 7700X, the Zotac 3060 Ti, Zotac 4070 Ti. Same exact RAM. Both check out good. Both swapped with known good sets of RAM. I just swapped the power supply in there with a Seasonic unit that I use, or have been using up until very, very recently. It's my passive unit. Doesn't have a fan. So there's the prime, I think it's 1000 or 1300 watt that wasn't there. Same exact issue. So now we're dialing it down to motherboard, CPU, but the CPU did pass mem tests. That's not saying it won't pass like CPU stuff. But the one thing I will say is prior to me installing the graphics card drivers, I did not have this issue. And yes, the other thing that we've already swapped here is the boot drive. I just swapped it to a 950 Pro that I had. There's normally a 980 Pro 2TB in there. Swapped that out. There was an OS on it already, just booted to it. Wasn't having issues, but didn't have drivers. Installed chipset graphics card drivers, chipset, and then restarted, and then graphics card drivers. Immediately having issues. So, I think the next thing is going to be taking that big old beast out, and hopefully it's not the same thing here. Oh my god. The GPU is just the most annoying thing nowadays, because you can't just go and buy them, even now. And if it is both, that's both Zotac, and I really like Zotac because, yes, that's a massive one. He specifically wanted it because it's super RGB to match the rest of the build. But Zotac is one of the few companies that will make small little guys like this. No other brand makes a 3060 Ti that sized. The closest you can get, and they also make a 3070 actually in that size. Asus does make this ITX 3060 that is technically smaller, but it is 2.5 slots, whereas that's only 2. This is available in a 3060 Ti, even though I only bought it as a 3060. Or I should say, Asus says that is available as a 3060 Ti. I have only seen it as a 3060. I would have bought the 3060 Ti model if it was available. This is their Phoenix. It's available on a 3050 as well. Both Frozen Slate and I have one of those because Newegg happened to get them. He as soon as he won the thing to get one, he grabbed it because he knew I wanted specifically that version to fit in Chibi PC, my ITX rig. And I also, however, won the ability to give Newegg money. Yay! Yeah, exactly. So we both have one. They're actually decent cards. A 3060 is not good though. Don't start 3060 Ti, guys. A 3060 is barely better than a 2060. I feel like in some cases that's not even, and a 2060 was already like not great, to be truthful. Like it was just enough for 4K, like not even like gaming per se. Like how do you want to put this? Like output to my 4K TV, not my new OLED one, but like a standard 4K 60 TV and like upscaling 1080p videos and stuff. 36 or 2060 was kind of like I even had to tweak stuff back a little bit. Now with the 3060 Ti, I can actually run if I run DLSS on it. I have no problem even running games at 4K 60 in many cases. Some more adventure games that look better 4K 30, but you know. So I'm gonna swap the GPU next to see what happens. However, I don't have anything at, well, I shouldn't say that. I have a 3080 Ti on my desktop, but my desktop works perfectly, and I'm not gonna potentially break it just to fix another computer. I mean, I might, but I really don't want to pull it apart if I don't have to. So, yeah. I should at least be able to test the crashing. Maybe not power draw, but at least the crashing part. I have that 3060 I just showed you on the shelf, or I can pull out, I have no problem pulling out the 3070 that's in Chibi PC. Though it still is not going to draw anything close to a 4070 Ti. Even though, and that's why I would want to use the 3080 Ti, but because that draws even more. That's like a really nice thing about the 4070 Ti's. It's almost as powerful as the 3080 Ti for way less power consumption. So what are we looking at here today? Well, I cucked you guys last time. I didn't show you a new pen. We got to the pen and I had to go to sleep. We still have only about an hour for this. I actually stopped troubleshooting the computer because I really got to tear stuff apart at this point, and I didn't want to do that tonight. And I want to bring, actually, the bigger reason, I want to use some of these pens at work. Not these pens. No. These pens. So we're actually going to go do a twofer in this one. Tactile turn, check them out. Here, these two are our tactile turn pens. I have a whole bunch of them. I highly recommend their seasonal ones. I think some of the seasonal designs are their best designs. Especially if you want to do some more like collecting rather than like I've been showing you on the left here, where it's like tumbled titanium. You've seen my Ember that I've treated a bit too poorly and got a nick on it. 2 nicks on it. This one's just the clear, and this one went all the way through because I dropped it like that onto the glass mouse pad, and the glass mouse pad won versus the paint or Cerakote. Looks beautiful in my opinion, though. Here is the Nitro. This one just stopped being sold. They'll probably introduce a new seasonal very shortly. Relative to the video, who knows when my videos actually go out, if ever. Hopefully eventually at some point they will. If any of you just have free time somehow and know how to / want to throw together videos, hit me up. Like literally, it's just I don't do anything fancy. You've seen my videos, I just cut it together. But in many cases, I don't have time for that. I barely have time to shoot them. But yeah, you can see here. I've actually used, I didn't think I used the Nitro that much, but apparently, I have, because I feel like I didn't use it as much because my car broke. Well, my car didn't break. Oh, the brake pad on my car broke. Literally the braking material on the rear, one of the rear brakes, broke off the backing. You can see how close that one is. That was basically from the day I got this to the day the Nitro came in. And I even used it until the Nitro came in. I did not try and clean the lube out, which you can still see it in there. I think you can only really see it because of the painted. They put extra in there because of the painted bolt, and then my bolt was actually loose. I didn't fix any of that until around the Nitro showed up. And as you can see, the lube's still in there. Well, I tried it without lube, and it's way too scratchy. So I just squirted some more dry lube in there. You can kind of... and I've even cleaned up the hole here around it. But what happens is just by you going like this, it smears it around. So, yeah. You know what? I should probably, before we do these, put away all this. Alright, so normally I only pull 1 or 2 pens at a time, but this time I luckily took a picture so I can put them all back. Oh, this is the original right here, the original seasonal side click from Tactile Turn. Safety first. We need to grab 1 pen here for reasons. This is the Ultim. God, that one's snappy. they're kind of just in an order I acquired them. Not even like some people would be like, oh, they should be in order of release or alphabetical or something. Nah, I like the randomness. I store actually a lot of my new anime that way as well. Unless it's like an established director or studio or something that I have a specific area for. Um, I actually like my anime being in order that I got it. I mean, like, if there's a newer version, I'll reconfigure it so that everything's by the newer one, stuff like that. But I don't know, because I feel like I remember more like when I got it rather than when it was released, if that makes sense. So like in the case of this cube, the latest cube, Ember, and you can see we staked Daniel's Pro. I was actually, or not Ember, yeah, Ember. I was using this for a long time, like the full. Usually it's a season, so 3 months, and I didn't get anything new until the Nitro came out. I was just using that, and then Black Friday. This was a Kickstarter that was there for a while. This is Tech Form, got it off eBay. This bought during a Black Friday deal. It's the modal. They ran these at the end, not even Black Friday deal. This was after Black Friday, Christmas. They launched 5 different modals in 5 days. So it's in the order I got them, not necessarily in the order that they came out, or even the order that I bought them in, but the order that I got them in, because that would be the order I used them in. Here would be the previous cube, and this one's actually like a bit kind of crazy because this was here, and I thought I would use this a lot more, but we just there's a lot of complications. So we got the deep space. This is the smooth operator. I still think one of the better everyday carry pens. I think the modal beats it and the EDK out now. This is the Nexus, probably one of my least favorite seasonal pens. And we got the tumbled smooth retract. My 8-bit, this got delayed in use because my tip was installed so tightly that we couldn't get it off, and I like using with the slim pens the Juice Up refill. Then we've got another Ultim TI2 design. It comes with the clip this time. Tech liner. This one is running a Juice because he switched from the when he switched to the Tech liner, it was originally for the Uniball refills, but now he's almost, because he's out of Hawaii, which is the U.S., almost exclusively using G2s. Here is an oldie. This is the Stealth. Finally found a good quality one of these in standard length for a reasonable price on eBay. I actually contacted Tactile Turn. I made a video about it, and they got me a replacement bolt. This is where my purchases of bolts got kind of crazy. You'll see why coming up down here. They came out with a stainless steel Tactile Turn. This looks very similar to their tumbled titanium. Then I didn't know this was coming right after. Like, I thought, this was an outlier. I hadn't gotten something in a while. Let's snag this. Because I was thinking how I really wanted it, etc. Burnley, that's only available in slim, but it's brass. And I picked this up because I'm like, oh, this is the only one. It's the only bolt. Well, what happened was the Ember came out, and that was their second bolt ever. So, good timing on my part. I barely used it though because I had to get repaired. I think you'll see it in that video as a comparison piece. But, yeah, really, since then, since picking up the Stealth, I got the Stealth, the stainless steel, the Ember, the, this isn't the short, this is the micro. Then I have the Techiform bolt, right? No, normally, I prefer the side click. Why do I have so many bolts? I know, right? Well, let's flip these over. It's been a long-winded thing. Bolt action standard, G10, green G10. Elliot, you bought 2 more bolts, stating you prefer the side click. Yes, yes I did. Yes, yes I did. It's been a bad Elliot lately. I feel like the spring on the Techiform's softer than the Ultim. Yeah, this Ultim's real snappy. Look at that fitment of that tip I got there. So, why these? Well, I like the Ultim to the point where I went through, this is the second refill in here. Now, why is it all separated? Because that's what happens when you have the tip uncovered. Also, this is one of my trial ones where I tested chopping it down and stuff like that, so I don't know if I upset it. But what happens, that's why the tips come covered, is because air goes in the tip and then it goes up out the back, which then pushes the gel out of the way, and then all the ink gets all weird. Techiform I've barely used because you saw me get it a couple videos ago. I would have bought it brand new from them rather than buying it off of eBay, but I had no idea they were doing another run of them. So this is a brand new refill. But why did I want the Techiform so bad? Yes, the don't take this probably. Like, I don't take any of my nice ones. That's what those Uniball shorty pens are for, is traveling. Because then you can have the nice, like a nice Uniball refill, or you can grab the juice and juice up pens, are actually really nice too. You can run those. Like, unless you're like your main thing is traveling, then you're gonna want to find a pen that you can get through, like a nice milled pen that you can get through TSA. This one, definitely don't take, because it's going to flag like a mother effer because it's that like metal impregnated plastic. But pick this one up because I loved this one that was thicker, right? You might have saw the teas yesterday. And yes, I did get this one engraved because originally the Ultim was not supposed to be a limited pen. And on the non-limited pens, I get them engraved with my username. Or like in this time where it's a one-time, like this is just like leftover parts from Black Friday, I want it engraved. Now, something like the seasonals where they have designs on the clip and stuff like that, I really use the crap out of this one. It's still, it feels so smooth. It's a... And there's actually a little bit less texture down here. Some people didn't like that. It can be good and bad. It's all preference, but yeah, for a bolt, this one's super nice. But the thickness is what I liked about this, right? Like, they had to make the Ultim thicker, and I don't know if it was strength concerns. I don't remember. Like, maybe I should look that up real quick. Oh, hey. I had to back up a couple things from the work laptop that I managed to lose. That luckily, I had on the work laptop that were supposed to be on my home server, and for some reason that drive was also not backed up, like to Backblaze. So there is no stated reason why the Ultem had to be, they call it like an oversized diameter. It had to be thicker. From my understanding, though, it is due to the size of material they got. Now you're like, oh, they could just mill it down more. Yep, that could be as well. Like I said, the other thing is they could have been worried about the strength of the material. It's supposed to be super strong, though, and if you look at the TI2 design, like it didn't ship with a clip originally, and I was like, oh, did you do this because of like strength reasons because it's plastic? And he's like, no, it should work fine. So I added one, and if you notice the second version when I showed it off here, had a clip as well. So I don't actually know why it's thicker, but the Ultim had to be thicker, or they chose for the Ultim to be thicker. They also did make a black Ultim. I saw no reason to buy that. It just looked black. Now I did an oopsie, not an oopsie with that. I should have just chosen one of these, and I bought both of them. Glad I did. They were both sold out before the day was over. I think before, because I woke up at noon, bought them and went back to sleep for another couple hours, and then went to work. By the time I had got out of my meetings for work, say 5, 6 p.m. my time, they were sold out, at least of the standard size. So more bolts, except they're G10. You're like, well, why would you want a G10? Well, G10 scale you'll find on knives, which is why they have it, because they do the Tactile Knife Co. stuff. Oh man, is that grippy. You almost feel like you get splinters from it. You're not. So this is the natural. Oh, that's snappy. It's not smooth like the Ultim though, but holy. Definitely not as smooth as the Ultim here. It's like a raw shaft. Yeah, even more raw, like less tumbled maybe than the. Yeah, it's far less shiny than these two. Yeah, so it's got the G2 refill, like all of theirs. Oh, geez, this is like, that spring in this one is super duper strong. Alright. So this is the one I had to get, and I made an oopsie when buying. What do you mean by an oopsie? Well, I bought the other color right away too. Yeah, that's my oopsie. I bought both of them. And I do kind of regret it now that seeing in person. I thought I may like both of them. Because based on the pictures, I want to say the green, these looked far closer to each other. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it was their colors, but this looks way lighter. This one on their images looked way lighter. Like we're talking almost transparent. Like closer to this, right? on their images. They're probably using much brighter studio lights than what I have here. You can barely see through this one. You see it's got like the nice grain structure and everything, right? This one, I thought it was supposed to look far more like woody. And you're like, what do you mean by that? You dumb Elliot. Oh, I'll show you. There is G10 scale. It's brown, not green. But do you see how this is like super matte? Even if you compare it to their pictures, they have a much better like grain to it. Like this to me is just boring. So I actually think this one might not go into the collection. I just don't like it. I love this one. Love how it's a little bit translucent. Actually, if it had something like this, like I said, where you actually had the grain and everything, like you see on their knives. If you look at the it's even in their pictures, even if it wasn't such a flat, they call this one green, and it is. It's like a military green, green G10 titanium. I actually don't know also if these have titanium bolts or not. Yeah, I'll show you on my screen what it looks like. Not calibrated screens. Even my screens at work are calibrated. So you can see these here, right? This has a really cool kind of ghosty vibe. We're getting a little light from this side, so I think it's even lighter than it is in reality. This is just like military green. And I normally don't resell pens, but I'll ask my friends, see if anybody wants this one for what I sold it for. And if not, it's probably going to go on the secondary market. Because this one is going to look good in my collection next to this guy, right? Because now if I collected the black Ultim, this could go with the black Ultim. But like generally speaking, the Ultim is way lighter too. Holy jeez. Tech form's heavier, probably because it's literal metal is in there. But the G10, that is a chonky, chonktastic heavy boy. Let me get you off the mount here, real quick and slight like. Okay, so here, hopefully this shows up. That on the right is the natural, which is this one. Now you're seeing some backlighting for me, so you can kind of see through it, right? But you just saw them over there on the thing. This is not that, like at all. This matches this actually quite well. Even then, it's definitely got more of a yellow hint to it. This though is like it's a much darker green. Like that's a much more muted color there. So, and if you look at I thought I was gonna like this one more. Look at how you see, and you saw it on my knife. How you get that, like, because it's a layered product, and you get this nice layered aesthetic of the things, or like with the knife, because they put the lines in. It almost looks like grains of wood, and you do get that on the natural colored one, right? See, you get that on the natural colored one. Look at that, really nice vibes. Here, it's kind of there, but because it's just military green, you don't. So, think my tip's 180 degrees the wrong way as well. Because it should line up. Or at least, see, it should line up. The tip they generally with the bolts can mill, like they screw it on and then mill it. The end cap is what they can't generally do, because the height of that can change and they can't mill it with the clip in there. So all of my tops on a lot of my pens have been just a little bit off. Yes, they're significantly heavier than even the Techiform. The one nice thing about the Ultim, this is what Squeeze really likes about it too, is it's super lightweight. Like we're talking, despite being so chonky thick, it's like there's nothing there. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you think these colors match up to what was on the screen there? Like I said, like, to me, yeah, that guy looks a little bit lighter. Is the Ultim in my hand, but you know, it's a little bit more yellow in real life. But that could be like a lighting thing. I showed you when it was being lit from the side, it kind of glowed a little bit. That seems to me to be like a completely different green color. And I may even reach out to them and be like, hey, as a heads up, I don't know if it's the photo you took or what, but my green and the green in the picture look... Here, once again. That's a different green. Am I wrong? Well, and here, see what I mean? This isn't that different. So that's at least in the same realm. And here, if we light it on the end, see that it lightens up. If we light up the end of it using a light. So, yeah, I really like the natural one. The natural one is going into the collection. The more I look at the green, the less I want to handle it, and the more I'm probably going to end up selling it off to a friend. If no friends want it, it'll go off to secondhand market. If I make a couple bucks there, I make a couple bucks there, you know. I'm not out to make money, but like I said, that looks very similar to a knife I have. Would love that. What I got, you can kind of see a little bit in the knife, where that's like a flat piece, but it's still got some vibe to it. Neither of those are green. Like that's like what do I want to say, like tarp green, or military fatigue green, or I don't know, like here, if you hold it up to like the desert tan here, it's got more in common with desert tan than it does that what they called green there. That to me almost looks more like a tan. So even though they called it a green, you know, I was going off the picture, and usually that's the way you want to go, not based on the name. But like I said, this came out looking better. You know, the natural came out looking better for me. Definitely keep it. Look at that. Look at that. Look at those lines on that. Beautiful. Apparently it'll smooth out as you use it, because it is a little bit rough. But whereas this guy's just bland as, and there are some lines in there, but like because it's so dark you can't see it. I'm surprised if these, like I said, I'll reach out. They're usually very good about support, and they might just be like, yeah, there was some variance in the material. I'll be like, oh, that's cool. Maybe next time show, if that's the case, show it. Like, take a picture of 5 of these and show like, oh, here's 5. Like, here's the color range you can expect. You know, because there is a little bit of color difference in here. They've done it before on the some of the seasonal pens with the deep space, because there was like kind of like a different randomized design you could get on there, or somewhat semi-randomized design. So they showed a couple different versions of it, and they got me the idea of like, oh, I prefer how that looks on the standard size thick pen rather than the slim, because some of their seasonals are available in both. Like whereas the 8-bit with its simpler color or scheme, I preferred it in the Slim. I think it just worked better as a design on the Slim. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Otherwise, also, have you gotten your hands on a thick style tactile turn bolt? Do you think they should make a thick style side click? I think they should. And what do you think about the colors here? Which one would you go with? And do you think I'm justified? I guess for like, do you think it's that different? Like, because that's a decently dark wood here too. Like it's I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Let me know down below in the comments. See you then.